This is a WKYT podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Victor and Andrea. Andrea's finishing up her breakfast. How's it going, Andrea?
Good. I have to multitask.
No, I know. You're a very busy woman. You set up today's guests.
I know. Aren't you proud?
I am. I'm very proud of you. Good job. Good initiative. So you set up today's guests. You're eating breakfast. You've got to anchor the 10 o'clock. You know, and it's a big day. We got the day this is recorded. The president's coming to town. That's a lot of work covering all that.
And then election tomorrow on Tuesday, which I think by the time this is released, we'll know who our governor is. Because right now, we could have the same governor or it could change.
Yeah, things appear to be pretty tight. So, but yeah, I think this might be coming out. If you're listening to this, Wednesday, election may be over.
I think Bill would be a good person to come in and kind of break down what happened. Maybe we'll try to get my good buddy co-anchor Bill Bryant to come in again.
We could see about that.
He's a tough man to book. I'm not even kidding. Like, you'd think that'd be easy and I'd have the end? No, not a thing.
I mean, I remember how long it took us to get him and Bar Bailey, and they work in the building.
I know. I literally sit next to Bill every day, and he was tough. But he was so much fun, a good guest, and today's guests are, again, so much fun.
I had a really good time. You all are going to enjoy this conversation. We really enjoyed it. Andrea, how did this come about?
So actually, our GM, Jeff Anderson, knows these two. They do Kentucky Taste Buds, which is a blog, and oh my gosh, they're practically an empire at this point. They do so much. They now do radio, a blog, they have a podcast, all kinds of stuff. They're looking into doing a vlog as well, so transitioning into radio, or to visual, in addition to everything else they're doing. So these two women are just best friends who it seems like just go out and have a great time and kind of invite people to come along, and they just show you the cool things that are available right in your backyard that you just kind of either, don't appreciate because it's right there, or just didn't know about even though it's right there. So it's really cool. And
I love their story. And it's one of the things they get into is that how they felt like they were kind of just in a rut and they wanted to make a change. And so they just started doing this, and it took off, and it's pretty successful for them. And it's kind of awesome to see that grow.
So be inspired, people. Take a listen to this.
Andrea, we're up and running.
All right, let's do this. So joining us today, we have the gals from Kentucky Taste Buds, and we are so excited to have you with us. So first of all, just go ahead and introduce yourselves for our listeners.
All right. Well, thank you for having us. I'm Tamara Schneider, and I'm homegrown here in Lexington, and I'll introduce my best friend, Leigh Roach.
Very nice.
Hi, I'm Leigh Roach, and I'm also, like Tamara just said, from Lexington, Kentucky, and I'm half of Kentucky Taste Buds, sometimes 3/4, sometimes a fourth. You know how that works. So.
Yeah.
It's a give and take.
That's
I
right,
wanted you all
that's
to
right.
introduce yourselves. That way people could kind of differentiate the voices and everything, because sometimes that can be difficult to tell people apart.
People often think, I'll be talking. They're like, is that Andrea?
Andrea, Victor, I don't know. Yeah, you understand the struggle.
That's right.
Yeah.
So first of all, just kind of take us through, what is Kentucky Taste Buds? What was your journey to get to where you are today?
Do you want to start, Tamara?
I'll let you.
Okay.
It was your idea.
It was about 2.5 years ago. Tamara and I have been best friends since middle school. We were moms who were actually starting to go through a divorce. Our children were flying the coop, and we worked every day, but we really didn't do anything outside of that. And so I got this idea because I'm a reality TV junkie, and I was watching reality TV, and this girl talked about blogging and going around the country and getting stuff for free. And I thought, well, that's genius. Why are we not doing this? Right. Right.
I love
So
free
I
stuff.
literally called Tamara the next day, and I'm a person who has tons of crazy ideas. So I thought, I'm really putting on the sales pitch for her. And I gave her a 10-minute speech, and then she literally says,
Okay.
that was
good.
it. That was
I'm
it.
in.
Yes.
So we developed this concept of getting out of our ruts and trying to go around the state of Kentucky and visit everything from food, fashion, entertainment, places we've never been, and really get out there and explore things, because we've lived here our whole lives and haven't begun to do, most of what it has to offer. And it just kind of developed over time. And we made it up as we went. We started adding legs to it. We have a philanthropic piece to what we do. We want to make sure we give back. And we also knew that we wanted to be interactive, that we wanted to have a lot of connection to our audience and engagement and kind of a give and take, because we wanted to inspire people to do the same thing. So that's kind of how it started. And then eventually it turned into a podcast, and now we have a radio show. But it's been about 2.5 years. It's been a fun journey.
So you keep the blog up, though. In addition, do you still do the podcast?
Yes, we
So
do
the
the
podcast
podcast
is
weekly.
still a thing,
Yeah.
and then radio on top of that. So how does this all work? When can people listen to you?
Well, they can listen to us on the radio on Saturdays on Kiss 96 FM from 10 to 2. We were 8 to 10, and we got some good positive feedback, so they increased our
Better
hours.
hours.
Like,
They gave us
hey.
better hours, yeah. And then our podcast, we tape every Sunday, and we release it for Monday mornings. And then the blog's just whenever, but in addition to that, we also, this is our part-time gig, so we have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we do stay very, very busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a lot to do, but the podcast is called Brunch with the Buds, and we typically have a guest. This past Sunday, we interviewed Curtis Streetman, who is an opera professor at EKU. He's in charge of their opera department there. And he's going to be having a show this Friday at the Lyric Theater. And so he came on and talked about opera. And so, again, we're all about getting people to get out of their ruts and try new things, visit places that they haven't been. And so for a lot of people, opera is kind of out of the box and don't know much about it, especially here in Central Kentucky. So it was really neat to have that conversation with him. And then we'll pick a theme. Of course, we're in political campaign season. And so
Not
we
much
had
longer.
I know, one
We're
more day.
almost done, people.
And so we had a very non-political, political conversation yesterday, and that was a lot of fun too. So we're really enjoying it. And we're kind of looking into doing a vlog cast too. That's going to be our next step. So have a video component because YouTube is so huge now too. So if the only bad thing about that is there's no filters.
Yes.
Ooh,
yes.
Yeah.
We're
So-
looking for one. If you all know of one, let us
We haven't been able to
please
find
let us
one
know.
Yeah.
either.
We need it.
You
too.
all don't need one.
You all
Yeah,
don't
we
need
do.
one.
Yeah, we do. You don't know how much concealer I have on.
I was gonna say before the 4 o'clock. Yeah, I'm in there. That's one thing I didn't learn growing up was applying my foundation.
Yes.
Good to know.
You needed me.
One of the things I love about this, because I feel like a lot of times when we have people in who are, especially from Lexington or sometimes Cincinnati, they come here to work, and they'll explore things in Lexington. But as far as the surrounding counties, I feel like a lot of times people don't go out to see sometimes they'll go to the Red River Gorge. That seems to be kind of the extent of it. But there are a lot of interesting things, in Danville, Harrodsburg, just cool places that, I don't know, something like this will introduce people to.
Yeah. One of our favorite little towns to visit is Lawrenceburg. We went there for a day, and we went to Heavens to Betsy little restaurant, which just got some national accolades. I forget on which list, but somebody named it one of the best places to eat. And we agree with that. And we visited Sweet Mash, which is a cute little gift store. And then they have a new spa there that it's like something out of New York, but there it is in downtown Lawrenceburg. And of course, that's on the trail. You've got wineries and distilleries there too. So really, and when I was growing up, I didn't know anybody that lived in Lawrenceburg. I went to college with one friend that was from there, but just really small town. But we love it there. And then Stanford is another great little town. Bluebird Cafe, we love to eat the Bluebird Cafe. And so you just really need to get out and explore these little towns because that's just small town America right there. And there's always something to discover.
I love that. And I feel like you find these hidden gems, and it's kind of like there's no excuse to let yourself get in a rut. You have to be proactive about seeking these things out, and that's exactly what you all have done. I mean, you didn't know about most of this before you made a conscious effort to commit to finding things to do and, getting outside your comfort zone. What has that done for you just on a personal level?
Oh, it's just been amazing. I mean, I have been I was an accountant in a former life. And then I went out on my own and started my own graphic design business. And so for a long time, I was working like 2 jobs, and I just wasn't enjoying life whatsoever.
No.
So I think the biggest change for me is that I'm actually enjoying life. I'm being in the present. And then the best part is I'm doing it with my best friend. And I think that's something that Tamara and I have discussed a lot too, is when you're married and you have children, you kind of lose yourself a little bit as a woman and maybe as a man too. I don't know, Victor, you'll have to tell us. But you kind kind of lose yourself because you give yourself to your job, your spouse, your children, and then at some point you wake up and all of that's kind of changed.
And you don't know who you are anymore.
You don't know who you are anymore. So this blog has allowed us to utilize our skill sets that we did not know we really had. They lay dormant for a long time. It's allowed us to get out and have fun with each other because we might do the once a month get together for, dinner at Applebee's or something, but we weren't exploring anything together. And when you explore something with someone, even if it's with your spouse, you discover new things about yourself. And so that's really been the best part for us, I think.
Yeah, well
You might be
said.
able to add to
Look
that.
at that. I know.
You're on fire.
Nailed
That
it.
coffee is kicking in this morning.
I'm better at 9:00 in the morning than
Yes.
like on our podcast at 3:30 in the afternoon.
We need to change our podcast time. Yeah,
There you go,
'cause-
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's your sweet spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's great, I think a lot of people, when they're in that rut, they don't maintain their friendships. So I love that you all have done this together. I think that's a huge component. Do you have people that like follow along with you guys? I'm sure they're like, I feel like you guys are my friends now.
Yes.
It's almost like if you don't have friends, you can follow along with you all and like just kind of go on your journey with you.
Absolutely. And we have tons of friends that we've met through Twitter, mainly. Twitter is such a great place to meet people in a nice way, and maybe not so nice. It depends on what you're following. But anyway, and so our followers on Twitter are just super friendly, and Leigh is so good about interacting with every single person that sends us a message. She will tweet back at them and retweet things that they're saying and all that kind of thing. And we've even met some of these people out at events and things like that, and it just warms our heart to no end when somebody comes up and says, "Oh, I follow you on Twitter," or "I follow you all on Instagram, and I think what you're doing is terrific." And again, a lot of what we go and discover and end up at is as a result of what someone has tweeted us or said, "You all need to come to this little town and go to this festival or whatever." It's a super great time, and it usually is. And so we've met tons of great people through our interactions, and we love that. That's one of our biggest loves.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. We've been very fortunate to meet a lot of good people. It's kind of like, it reminds me of a BBN Nation, how you're just kind of a family automatically if you have on blue, and you see them out and you're like, oh, there's, cousin Johnny over there.
Yeah.
That's kind of how this is developing for us. We're getting very connected with people, and they're feeling like our long distance cousins in other counties. So it's really fun.
Well, and I was going to say, and people, I was almost going to say they feel like they get to know you, but they do get to know you because that's you. You're talking, that they're listening to you talk for hours on end, so they get to know you as a person. They decide whether or not they like you. And so when they come up and they say, I'm a big fan, that's genuine. I mean, I guess that's a big part of that is knowing that they do know who you are.
Yeah. And the good thing about us and what makes, I think, this so successful and works so well is that Leigh and I are very different people. And so we like to say that I'm the class and she's the sass. And and I always say that Leigh is the Snapchat filter to my photo. So I'm kind of more, and
traditional
then,
and structured
and she's the flamboyant and exciting and vibrant person. So I think if you follow us, you might gravitate more towards one or the other. But I think there's something for everybody.
Yeah, we think so.
We think so.
There's a good yin and yang going on for sure.
Yes.
I feel like, and you can't be fake when you're friends with you. You know what I mean?
That's
like
right.
your
That's
real
right.
self is going to come out because they're going to call each other on it.
Yes.
No doubt. So you mentioned something about, a divorce. Obviously, that's a difficult thing to go through. And I don't know if you're dating or anything like that, but I remember back when I was dating, it was a long journey. I'm not like married yet or anything, so it could still be a journey I'm on. But it's like there were times when I was so devoted to my career, I didn't have anything to talk about on dates.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
you all have so much to talk about now, just so many fun experiences. Like, what are some of the fun stories you have?
Oh, which ones can we tell?
Oh, okay, let me tell the story.
Here we go.
Everybody sit back, get your popcorn. So Leigh and I decided we were going to go kayaking for the first time. There's great kayak places to go throughout Kentucky, of course. And so I have a good friend. They're a very outdoorsy couple. They're always doing stuff. And so I called them because they have all the equipment and the knowledge and expertise. And I was like, can you take us kayaking? They were like, sure, come on. So we go up to High Bridge, which is fantastic, a great place to go kayaking. They had all the equipment. Well, the night before, Leigh is completely freaked out because she has Googled kayaking, whitewater.
And deaths and-
Yes. And so she calls me in a sheer panic
They showed rapids.
Yeah, so she's thinking there's rapids. She thinks the boat's going to flip. She's going to hit her head, be knocked unconscious, and drown. And so I was like, quit Googling. Calm down. It's going to be fine.
It's like WebMD.
That's good.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
For canoeing.
My side hurts. Oh no, I'm dying.
Yes, don't Google your symptoms. Don't Google kayaking. And so we went, and you loved it. It was one of our most favorite experiences. And just to see the beautiful Palisades and everything, that's just really neat from a kayak perspective.
And that's a big part of what we do is try to get out of our comfort zone.
Yes.
Because I am the fun one, but I'm the controlled one too. I like
Yeah.
a lot of control. And if something's not within my control, I worry. And so she's really stretched me because she's actually the more adventurous one. And she swears she's going to get me to zip line, but
It's
going to
fun.
take,
You
I'm
like
afraid
it.
of heights. I told her if it was 3
I don't
feet
like
off
them
the
either.
ground.
I don't like them either.
Yeah.
But it's
It
cool.
looks fun.
Yeah, you got to distract yourself with the scenery.
Yeah.
There-
Yeah.
Just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Just enjoy. You
there
know.
used to be the zip line across Rupp Arena at the boat show.
Right.
But then they put up the new screen, and it's too big for you to be able to go under.
Yeah.
But yeah. That seemed like a safe amount of zip lining because
Yeah.
you're above Rupp.
Yeah.
She says she would do it if it was 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
Well,
haven't
you
found
could
one of
just
those.
Exactly.
raise her up
To build a very
gradually.
specialized.
You know
I mean,
what
like a
mean?
kiddie's version. You know?
Exactly. Like the bunny slope.
Exactly.
Of zip lining.
Exactly.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like that's great. Now you can be like, oh, I love canoeing because
Yeah.
sometimes I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch TV after work and I like to nap.
Yes.
As far as your-
You know, like
your
my
hobbies.
what do you like to do for fun?
Yeah.
You all have real answers now, and people can kind of get good ideas. Just find new
We
ways to get
convince
out.
ourselves that we don't like things, and sometimes we've never
Yes.
even tried these things.
Yeah.
And sushi is a good example of that. I said I don't like sushi, and she's like, "Well, how do you know? Have you tasted it?" I'm like, "I think I have. I just
my
don't
mom.
like it.
That is my mom to a
and
T.
of course now I love it. So we push each other to try things that we've never tried, and we're almost always blown away how much we really enjoy something.
Yeah.
I think it's also one of those things where people don't realize there are people who come from across the country to Kentucky to destinations, and then people who live nearby don't even realize that this is in their own backyard. I grew up in Powell County near the Red River Gorge, and we would occasionally go up to go camping, but that was about it. And so then when I grow up and realize that people are flying in from all across the world to go rock climbing or explore the caves and different stuff, I wonder, why I didn't do that when I was younger. There's just a lot of interesting things in our own backyards that we don't realize.
Absolutely.
That's been eye-opening for us. One of our first outings was to attend the Bourbon Affair that's held in Louisville every year, and it's really throughout the state. They have different events, and we were amazed how many people came out of state for their vacation for a whole week to Kentucky. We're like, "You're coming to Kentucky?"
Yeah.
Because we're going to
Right.
Florida
Yeah.
and California or wherever we're going, and so that's another part that we really try to sell is why do you have to convince yourself to leave the state to have a vacation? There are so many fantastic things to do, even if it's just a weekend getaway, and explore what's around here. We've been to some amazing bed and breakfasts. Chateau Bourbon in Louisville is one of our favorite. Willis Graves in Burlington, Kentucky. There are so many great places to go and just that are pretty inexpensive to go for a couple of nights, and it's so much fun to get away.
You don't have to eat up
Yeah.
all of your PTO and your vacation time.
That's
You
right.
can just
That's
do
right.
short little, maybe
Yeah.
like a day, like
Yeah.
a Friday and a Monday, and give yourself a nice long weekend.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Well, we are transitioning into the holiday season, and we've been talking about giving people inspiration of things to do, things they need to look into. So you all have a holiday hot list.
Right. So every year, this is year 3 of our holiday hot list. It's kind of like Oprah's favorite things, but we're not Oprah. Maybe someday. And so it's 50 gifts, and they're all either Kentucky made or Kentucky centric in some way. And we profile these and really just trying to encourage shop local. That kind of thing, and a variety of things, gifts for him, her, experiences, just really unique things that you're not going to find at Costco or Sam's Club or Walmart. And so we're big on that. We love it. People will send us ideas, say, oh, my uncle sells these, blah, blah, blah. And so we're putting that list together now. The benefit that we have this year is that being associated with KISS 96.9, we've roped them in on it. And so they're going to do 20 days of giveaways.
Nice.
So starting, I think that's going to start December 1st and running until the 20th. Every day they will draw a name, and that person will win the item that we're profiling that day. So that's going to be a fantastic way for people to actually get their hands on these really unique items. So
Yeah.
we love it.
And we'll do it as a countdown. So every day we'll reveal a new one, and it's going to begin 11/11. And anybody can check out our website at kytastebuds.com and see this holiday list in beginning next week.
Oh my gosh, we
Yeah.
got a lot of work to do,
We
girl.
do.
Yeah,
I know.
Same. I have a story that I need to air on 11/11. I was like, ooh,
Oh,
I haven't started putting that together, and I shot it 2 months ago. So
Oh my.
good job, Andrea.
Yeah.
I'm excited to check that list out because, as you start getting older, it definitely gets a little more difficult to
hard.
find gifts because
is.
generally if people want something, they'll just go get it for themselves. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, and especially men. You men are very hard to buy for.
Yes, yes.
So we always try to find some nice gifts for the men in our lives, that's something that they could use or want or anything like that. So yeah, we
Growing
love
up,
it.
and my brother sent me a meme over the weekend, and it was like, I need toothpaste. And the caption was like, Mom, okay, but it's going to be part of your Christmas.
Yeah,
That's
at this
what,
point.
starting November, anything
Anything.
you ask
Anything
for,
you ask
she's like,
for.
well, it's part of your Christmas.
I say
know what I mean?
that all the
I
time.
know.
hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. Well, can you give us, I know you don't want to give away too much, obviously, because there's going to be the countdown and everything, but can you give us maybe an example or two of some of the holiday hot items people can look into?
Should we reveal a few?
Yeah. Do you
Well,
have
one will be the Willis Graves Bed and Breakfast that is so amazing in Burlington, Kentucky, and we're going to try to potentially make that a giveaway too. So we'll see. So that's one experience that we have, and then we have some art. I'll leave it at that. There's some art that's local to Kentucky that's just absolutely beautiful, and we'll definitely be featuring. We don't want to give away too much.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I
yeah.
get
That's
it.
good.
But we'll have everything from fashion to, like Tamara said, experiences and jewelry and some philanthropic ideas too, because that's a big part of giving.
Because
during
you
the
always have
holidays.
that one relative that says, "No, don't you buy me
Don't buy
one
anything.
thing. I
Yeah.
don't need a thing." Well, this is what you get that person that says they don't need a thing. And you can go back on our website and look at our previous holiday hot list, and those items you can still get. So, I mean, it's a plethora of things to choose from.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, go back.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned Lawrenceburg. I guess what other places around Lexington have you been surprised to find?
Well, just recently we spent a weekend in Shelbyville, and we went and saw what was it, the Stephen Foster story at the amphitheater there. We
Bardstown,
visited in I'm sorry, what did I say, Shelbyville?
Yeah,
Bardstown.
Bardstown.
And then we also went to my old Kentucky home. And then out in the middle of a cornfield was a new bourbon distillery called Bardstown Bourbon Company. And it had, have you been there? It's
I've
like
heard
the
about it. We had them on the
swankiest
show, yeah.
restaurant. And it was
Really?
like, it was like New York sitting in the middle of a cornfield. It's
beautiful.
And it's gorgeous, and you can do tasting there. They have some new releases. And then their food. We had an appetizer that was grilled cheese and tomato soup, and they cut up the grilled cheese to look like a Jenga puzzle. Yeah, it was so cute. And so they just, everything about presentation and the aesthetics of the place was just, I felt like I was transported to another city. And it, like I said, it was right in the middle of a cornfield. So that was definitely one of my favorite finds that we've had in the last couple of months.
And that's
so,
not that far away. I mean,
No,
that's
it was
very
45
centrally
minutes.
located.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Bardstown is right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Easy to get to.
We'll spend that on Nicholasville Road sometimes.
Yeah.
So
yes.
why not, get on the Bluegrass,
Get me
express and
started.
get out of here.
Sometimes it takes me 40 minutes to get to work. So, yeah,
I know,
Just
I
live
know.
over on the other side of town.
Yeah, and another awesome place that we have visited that we hadn't been to since we were in elementary school was Shakertown, Shaker Village. And Andrew, you're from Nicholasville, so you probably went there as a
we went
child.
on field trips.
Field
Yeah.
trips,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you thought, watching somebody make a broom.
It's probably more fun now. I didn't
Oh.
fully appreciate it.
So we
back
went
then.
back. They were so gracious to us. They invited us out. We spent the night there, which I didn't even know you could spend the night there, in these 1,800 dwellings that have been maintained. They're doing this huge renovation. They've spent millions of dollars just in the last year renovating this. And what Shaker Village does so well is they are changing the way that history is taught. And so they show how things are applicable to today's society. And I think that's such an important key when you're teaching history. It's not just dry dates and facts. These are people that lived and breathed, and this is how it can relate to our lives today. And they have a working farm out there, organic. They have that trustees table, which is the restaurant there, and everything is grown right outside the door. So you can't get any fresher than that. We had them on our podcast, Chef Amber and the farm manager Mike. and talking about what it takes to grow all of that, and and they're so smart. These people are so smart, and so I love that. But the Shaker Village, they are always having events.
You can do weddings out there.
You can do weddings. It's just gorgeous. So I would highly recommend anybody to go and check out Shaker Village, especially leading up to the holidays. They're going to have all kinds of events. Sign up for their newsletter. That's the best way to stay in the loop on what's going on at these places. Sign up for all of their emails. And that's how we stay in touch with what's going on, is through following them on Twitter, their social media, and then their newsletters.
Smart.
And then in Millersburg, the mustard seed just opened. Have you heard about the mustard seed?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
Tell me more.
it's an old.
It was
it's a
MMI,
military.
The
Millersburg Military
yeah.
Institute.
And they've converted it into event location, but they're going to be doing a Christmas fair that's going to be similar to what the horse park does.
Oh, yeah.
But it's going to be a walking tour instead of a driving tour. So they're going to just go nuts.
Like the Southern
decorating
Lights.
everything. Yes, and they're going to
Okay.
have all kinds of vendors and pop-up shops, and we're getting ready to go visit, and we'll do a blog about it and put it out there. We're very excited. They've asked us to stay, and so we're really looking forward to that. But it's a great location, and this is a town who really needs the support, because there's been some change in their roadways, and it's caused their tourism to go down. They've kind of rerouted people, so they're really hyping this up and trying to bring a lot of tourists in to help their economy. So we're going to try to help with that as well. Spread the
Well,
word.
we may have to do a little something on that.
Check that out.
Yeah.
That's just north of Paris, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Very
I know
close.
what you're talking about, because whenever we would drive, depending which way we would go, we used to drive right through the middle of Millersburg, and you would pass the military academy. And now, because of the way they've changed things, if I'm going to Nicholas County or something, I drive around it. I didn't even think
That's
about how that
tough.
would impact their downtown.
Yeah. And it's
Now-
beautiful.
Have you all, I'm assuming, this may be a good suggestion, but you've probably already been, because you mentioned Shakertown, and not far away, none such, there's the Glitz. Have you eaten at the Glitz?
Yes.
Have you been there?
Yes, we haven't been together. I
Right.
went before Kentucky Taste Buds.
Yes.
Love that place.
Oh my
None
gosh,
such.
it is so extra.
I've never been. What is the Glitz?
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Victor.
It is like my head in physical form. Like, it's just like a glimpse into
a
the
little
craziness.
terrifying.
Lots of
and the
lights,
madness.
Okay.
frilly stuff.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It's like a little
Antiques.
girl's dream. Yes,
Yeah.
antiques, and everything's just over the top. It's like Dolly Parton
Okay, I
Yeah.
can see that.
decorated it.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good description.
It's so much fun, and they have great food.
They have
Yes,
great
it's
food.
delicious, and it's beautiful at Christmas time. It's gorgeous. It's a great time to go.
There you go. There's my tip.
Okay.
Go to the
That's
Glitz.
a great tip.
Vera would love it. Your little girl.
I bet she would. She gets
Sensory
excited.
overload,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It would
she's
be
just
so
now really
much
started
fun.
exploring everything around her. So.
Uh-huh.
I love
You
it.
need to take her.
Yeah.
Well, you have a podcast. Now you're into radio. How is it different from the podcast, or is it kind of consistent?
It's so different. So our podcast is doing exactly what we're doing now, and that's just talking for an hour. But on the show, on the radio show, we are actually DJs. So we are discussing segments, or we have segments that last anywhere from 1.5 to 45 seconds. So they're very short. So we have a very short amount of time to convey a message. I know you all know what that's like. It's very hard, especially for...
I'm long-winded too, girl.
There you go. You know, like you and I are already twins. It's very hard to be so succinct. Yes.
And then you've got to toss to a song.
Then we toss it to a song. Yes, that we don't pick out, by the way, because it's all pre-programmed. So we're like, why is that song after? So sometimes we make requests to change it. But it's been a challenge to create content that you can deliver and then not have any flubs. You know, because now you have this pressure of, I don't know how you guys do it. You have the pressure of getting something out in 45 seconds. And when you do, it's kind of a mental game that you're playing with yourself. And so then I'm worse at it than she is. All the flubs start to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is very hard. And we try to have a theme for our shows. We're not just rambling. But so that's kind of hard to come up with a theme and then tie everything in together.
Every day. It's a lot.
It is. It's a lot of content. And now, especially spread out over 4 hours, that's doubled. And so it is a challenge for sure, but it's fun. And we're hoping to get to the point where we can start spinning our own records, you know, picking out
There
our
you
own
go. There
music.
you
Be real
go.
DJs.
Be real DJs. And I don't think you'll see us at any of Kanye's parties coming up, but, you know, you never know. You never know.
Y'all have personality. You're like the dynamic duo. You're fun.
Thank you.
Well, I just lost the train of
Well, I
my
was just going to
thoughts.
say that's such
Tag on it.
such a big audience though to be able to reach that many. Have you seen the podcast and other stuff grow since you've been able to do that on the radio?
Yeah.
We have. We've been very fortunate that way. And I'll tell you, it's really like the very first airing that we had. Tamara and I, it was early because it was at 8:00, and we called each other up and we're like, let's go meet over at North Lime Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
And we sat in the car together. We were like little nerds. We turn on the radio. We're eating so we could hear ourselves together. And we're like, shh, we're on. And we filmed ourselves doing that because it was a monumental moment for us. You know,
huge.
it just felt huge.
Because again, 3 years ago, our lives were miserable, and you can continue being miserable in your life and just complaining and saying, you know, this is just my lot in life, and you know, this is what it is. I should just be grateful for what I have. Well, you know, we chose not to do that, and so to look back, you know, this many years later, and how much fun we've had, and the relationships that we've had. And are having, you know, it's not lost on us. We completely appreciate every single moment. I mean, sitting here with you all, you know, that we watch on TV every day. Like, this is an honor, and we appreciate what you all do to shed the light on how awesome Kentucky is and what awesome things that we have going on here. So it's not lost on us. We appreciate every moment.
You all are so relatable. I mean, I've been through those times where I've just been
In a rut.
Yes, in a rut, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. And another relatable thing is the flubs. That's what I was flub trying to think about the flubs. But I've tried, and I've always think about it. Sometimes I'll get on a roll, and I'm like, can I make it through an entire block of news without messing up? I don't know that I've ever done it. Like, we aren't perfect by any means, and like I will always stumble at least once, and I'll get so close, and then I'll jinx myself, and I'm like, dang it!
You're so busy thinking about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
Tamara's really good. She rarely flubs. But we have to do some takes over a few times with me.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about what we do. It is recorded. This is a little demystifying of the radio.
I mean, we're the same way for a lot of our stuff. You know,
Yeah.
True.
On the anchor desk, you're live, but sometimes stuff out the field.
They're called look lives. Yeah,
Look live. Oh, okay. So now we know what the term is.
that's what we call.
Well, and sometimes we have a trouble where we have an event that's on at the same time as our radio show. Well, you all know this too, right?
Yeah.
So we can't really advertise the event while we're out there until the show's over.
Exactly.
I
It's
gotcha.
tough. It's tough.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if anybody wants to find you guys one more time, let's go ahead and, you know, pump you guys up, do a little shameless plug here.
Yeah, well, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, KY Taste Buds, and then our blog is kytastebuds.com. And that's where you can find our holiday hot list. So I hope everybody will pay
I'll be
attention
on
to
that.
that.
And then our radio show is every Saturday, 10 to 2 on Kiss 96 FM. And we're now playing Christmas music. Yes. Yeah, we're on the fence about that, but we're doing it well. And
It's for the crazy people like me that I'm like, yes.
Poor
Never too
Thanksgiving.
soon. This is how I bring joy to my life when I'm in a rut. I'm like, oh, Christmas, thank you.
we are a lot alike. She's like my twin.
Yeah.
And then we also have our podcast, Brunch with the Buds, on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Podbean, or you can find it on our website. Yeah. And we have an e-newsletter, too, that goes out once a week. So if anybody goes to our website and sign up, they can keep up on all of our shenanigans, is like what we like to call it.
Oh, they're shenanigans. Yes.
Well, I think there's also something great about what you all did as far as just finding a creative outlet. I mean, that helps a lot, especially
Y'all don't
if
have
you're
time to be bored
if you're in a rut,
anymore.
if you're doing different things. Yeah, I was gonna say, and so if somebody's listening to this and they think that they have a subject that they enjoy, you know, I don't think a lot of people realize how easy it is to start a podcast. I mean, once you start doing it consistently, that's work, but just getting it together and trying to put together a recording, I mean, that's something anybody can really do.
Yeah, and there's podcasts literally for every topic on the face of the planet. And so whether you want to do it just as a creative outlet, I think everybody should have a creative outlet. Or if you want to monetize it and actually have it as your side hustle. I'm a big believer in side hustles. I don't know how anybody can survive on one salary these days, especially as single moms. So I'm a big proponent of side hustles. You know, there's a way to do that. You kind of have to be more creative and find a niche. So I would say think about what you want to talk about, plan it out, and do some research on that kind of thing. But again, stick with what you're passionate about, and you can't go wrong.
And partner with somebody who's going to work well
Yes.
with you and
Yes.
compliment you, because I could not do any of it without Tamara. She is the perfect person for this.
Yeah.
What I lack, she possesses, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's a good teamwork going on here for sure.
Well, we have loved this conversation, and we appreciate you all coming in. Thank you so much. You'll have to come back.
Guys.
You're gonna be our
We need to have
repeat
you
guest.
guys on.
Yes.
We need to
Well,
flip the
yes.
script.
And
That'd be fun.
I think once your list is out, we can have you back around Christmas. So you can talk about some of the items.
we would
would
love
love
that.
to.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
Thank
Love
you
it.
guys so much.
Thank
We love
you.
y'all.
Love you too.
Well, Andrea, what did you think about that?
Oh, I loved it. And I can relate to them so much. We talked about it afterwards because they're both single moms. We've talked about it in the past. We were both raised by single moms. So it's almost like we were just instantly connected with them. It was so easy. They're so easy to talk to, and they're so much fun. And, Jeff actually ran into us afterwards, and he's like, "Did you know them already?" No.
No, but you
I
can just talk
didn't.
to them like you've
my
been friends for
gosh.
a long time, because they're a very fun conversation. And we'd even mention maybe having them back around Christmas sometime to talk about that list and all the items and just kind of the
Yes.
interesting stuff they got going on.
That was my dream. I watched Oprah every day after school. I mean, religiously.
So inspiring.
I loved Oprah so much. And I was young, like I didn't even know what she was talking about, but I could listen to her every day. And I remember thinking what I would give to be at the Favorite Things episode. Like, you got so much stuff.
Yeah.
So
You get a car,
much
and you get a car.
stuff.
Although my favorite gif that came from that is one where it's like her going, bees, and then bees
Oh
filled
gosh.
the audience.
That would be
That's
you.
not really, yeah.
That
Okay.
is so you.
But yeah, really good time. And I'm looking forward to that list because, like I said, it's, as you get older, sometimes it's kind of hard to find interesting gifts or things that people might not think to get themselves.
And it seems like these all have a story behind them, which is half the battle.
Yeah.
Like you give someone a pair of socks you got from Macy's, like that's nice, and everybody loves getting a gift.
I've started wearing interesting socks, and I like them.
That is just a thing. Jim does the same thing. Guys in your socks. It's like, I feel like you can't be that creative.
We
with
don't
your
have a lot of
outfits.
other outlets.
You
Exactly,
don't.
yeah.
So it's like socks is where it's at.
I can't really wear patterned shirts
Yeah.
with too brightly colored
Oh,
patterns.
Victor
I
has
can't
gotten
wear-
in a lot of trouble
When
for
I
his
first started
patterns.
here, I had a large array of different colored shirts and patterns and ties, and I've slowly been whittled down to a more manageable, professional. I mean, my closet now is just 20
It's a
white
professional palette.
20 white shirts. And I will admit that I probably do look better on here,
You're like, I miss it.
but I just liked it personally. But for a professional appearance, that is probably the correct thing to do.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, back to our conversation with the Kentucky Taste Buds ladies. I was listening to another podcast, which that's basically all I do anymore
Yep.
is listen to podcasts.
I
Like
know
I
the
do a lot
feeling.
of driving and stuff. So, and that's what I do when I'm running errands, when I'm cleaning the house, whatever. But there was another podcast where someone was talking about his career, and we all get overwhelmed so easily. I know I do. And everything that I have done ends up being easier than I thought it was going to be. And I think these ladies found the exact same thing. It's like, you may be stuck in a rut and it seems like there's no way, like, how do I get out of this? Like, sometimes you just have to do it. And typically, it's easier than you think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Reminds me of one of my favorite, I don't know if it's Buddhist or if it's, but it basically is something a monk said whenever people are talking about their problems or their issues. And it's like, well, no, what's wrong in this moment? And it's like,
Yes.
well, I've got this mortgage to do. It's like, okay, but is somebody coming to take your house right now? Is this
Right.
in this moment? What is
Focus.
the problem? Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, my sink broke and it's spraying water everywhere. Okay, well, that's something you need to take care of immediately.
now.
But your other problems, think about them and try to realize, as you and I are sitting here right now recording this, what problems do we have? You
Yeah.
have to get ready to go anchor in about 20 minutes, but other than
It's
that,
all right.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll
but
be
other than
fine.
that, life's pretty good.
Yeah, but you can get distracted by the big picture sometimes to the point that you can't do anything. You can't do any of those little things
Just
that will help that big picture in
crippling
the end. Yeah.
Anxiety, yeah.
Honey, I know all about it.
Yeah.
I know all about it. So I just loved hearing their story and just how they've leaned on each other and just kind of helped each other along the way through a tough time.
Well, the other nice thing about what they're doing is it forces them to see each other every week. So if you've
Yes.
got a good friend, think about, you have friends who you maybe only talk to once a month and you wish you saw them more often. They have an appointment now where they have to see each other every week.
Exactly. It's like an
And more
accountability
than that.
partner at the gym.
Exactly.
I'm like, I don't want to work out with someone else.
So yeah, that's good. I look forward to this is me discovering them. So I look forward to exploring all their stuff now, and yeah, it'll be interesting. I look forward to us having them back on also.
I mean, selfishly, honey, we can get story ideas from them. It's
Oh,
like they know so
yeah.
much stuff.
They do, and again they've done something that I suggest other people do, is exploring the rest of the state, because there is so much
Yes.
out there, and a lot of people don't realize. And I think that's what I like so much about what they're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't go on vacation a whole lot growing up because we didn't have much money. So I think this is also good for people like us that like to budget and, just be frugal. It's like there are plenty of things to do right here. Like you can go on vacation if that's not something you're financially able to do right now. Just, you got to be a little more creative sometimes, but it is possible. So, all right, favorite things.
Well, first off, we haven't really talked since I got back from Mexico about my trip.
Oh my gosh, it's all about you.
We literally recorded all the stuff before we left,
about
including the episode that came out last week. That was recorded before I left. And then, so yeah, I just want to say I had a good time.
That's it?
Well, Vera traveled on a plane for the first time. Her trip,
How did that go?
the two flights up were fantastic. She did a really great job. Flights back, not so great.
Ooh.
I'm going to give props and slops.
Oh, lovely.
Props to the USO facility in the Charlotte airport, because they were really nice to us and let us hang out there. My wife's dad is retired Army, and so we were able to hang out there. Slops because the gate at Charlotte closed a little bit early, and we missed our flight back to Lexington.
That is I'm very uncomfortable at the airport. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, the thing is,
that's my nightmare.
Whenever you come back in from another country, you have to go through customs again.
Right.
Which we'd planned for, although it was a tight window, but one you could make. So our next plane was supposed to leave at 6:05. We got to the gate. I looked up. It said 5:54. There's not supposed to close the door until 10 minutes before the plane takes off. But the dude there was like, "Sorry, we already closed it." And I understand they have policies, and sometimes they all right,
They can't
we
make
missed
an
it.
exception.
But he literally laughed at us.
Oh no.
He was pretty rude. I was
Now,
not happy about it.
Knowing your wife as well as I do, I would imagine she did not.
She
take
got
that
up there
well.
about the time it was. Well, no, it was her sister who did not take it well. She let the guy know that he was rude, as she put it.
I'm sure she put it.
So we ended up
that.
getting booked into another flight. So we ended up having a 4-hour layover with an infant, and so
That's tough.
But the USO was there. They did great stuff,
Aw.
and they let us hang out in their kids. They have a little kids room, so
Oh, that's great.
that was nice. So.
Now, speaking of kids, you also had Halloween. This happened while
Yes.
we've been away from the podcasting world. And I saw the cutest video of Vera in her costume. And she reminded me of a Mortal Kombat character because she rocks a
just
lot.
waiting for the...
Yeah, it's like, the Mortal Kombat characters, like they just
you
bounce
leave
back
'em.
and forth if you're not doing anything. Like that's Vera. Like she's always moving.
That's not the reference I expected you to make, but yeah, that was pretty much it. If you think of it like in the character select screen, how they're getting ready to...
She's so cute.
That was her. Yeah, she was Minnie Mouse, and we were out trick or treating, and one of the homes we went to had music playing, and it happened to be the theme from Ghostbusters, and she just starts dancing back and forth and just kind of.
She's got the little two-step.
Yeah, and so
It reminds me of Hitch. He's like, no, this is where
This
you
is-
live.
yeah.
This is where you live.
And so I'm, come on, Vera, we gotta go.
So
And she just looks at
cute.
me and laughing. So yeah, I put that out on Twitter, so you can, if you want 30 seconds to make you smile, there you go. That's that. So, but yeah, the second flight back, she did not have a good time and cried for pretty much the whole hour, and so I felt real bad for everybody around us.
Yeah,
But we made it home. We had a great time.
it happens.
Yeah.
In China, I think it's China, their airlines, you can book your seats ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll show you where babies are. So you can, it's kind of like movie theaters where you can choose your
Yeah.
seat. You can choose your seat, and it's literally to be as far away from children.
I don't blame them. I mean, I felt bad. I'm like, well, we're those people. But,
I mean, what are you going to do? You can't not take them.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just got to take them, so...
and she had a great time. We were at an all-inclusive resort, and she took advantage of the buffet. And
my girl.
we didn't even have to pay for her, so I felt like they really lost out on a lot of money because
No, you got your money's worth.
she's got an appetite.
I love that girl.
But Halloween was great. The trip was great. So my favorite thing this week, I know we've scaled back on food. Mine is a drink at Coeur d'Alema. We went with some friends the other
Are
night.
we talking cocktails?
Yes, it's a cocktail. It's a cucumber. Maybe there was spinach in it, but it's like a green juice margarita almost, but the cucumber comes through more than anything. But it's almost a cucumber margarita, and it was really good.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm skeptical. I would try
Cucumber
it,
is very
obviously.
refreshing. Anyway, I think you think of like cucumber water.
I love cucumber water, actually. I remember they had that. I was on vacation one time, and that's what they had by the pool. I drank so much cucumber water, but I tried to recreate it at home, and it just wasn't as
This was
good.
the same, yeah.
Yeah, but it is very refreshing, so I imagine it's good.
So this was it's their current specialty cocktail. I don't know how long they'll have it, but it was also our first time just going to Coeur d'Alene.
Hey, I've never been there, period.
The shrimp tacos were excellent. Macaroni and cheese. I wouldn't have thought that would be the place for macaroni, but the macaroni and cheese was fantastic. And they have this. It's supposed to be a appetizer, but some people apparently get it as an entree. I forget the exact name of it. Papitas maybe. But it's when they brought it to us, it was looked like a metal can, and there were all these looked like French fries sticking out of it, and they lift the can up, and the French fries all just come flopping out. But the French fries had been coated in cheese and like pico de gallo, and it was like the best loaded French fries I've ever had. And so we all just started sticking our forks in and eating them.
That sounds so good.
It was really good, and I can see why people get that as their entree. Like, okay, I'm just gonna eat these.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know if we're allowed to say food porn on here, but that,
That sounds like it to me.
I'll be honest, I didn't even have to see it. And I saw it.
You talk about your favorite thing, and I'll find the.
Okay, so, I was actually looking up something for my favorite thing because I think it's very popular, so I doubt that I'm introducing anyone to this, but I have started listening to a new podcast. You all know that's my thing. That's what I do. Dolly Parton's America. It is so good. Like, I'm a huge Dolly fan, and I'm learning so much I did not know about Dolly. Like, there's some dark stuff in her life. Like, her partnership with Porter Wagner ended very poorly. Like, that's who basically made her. She was the girl singer. Is
Really?
what they call it, with Porter Wagner on his show. And, she started cranking out hits. Like, it's
Now, is this her talking, or
ridiculous.
is this someone else talking about her?
Both. It's someone else talking about her, but they do interview Dolly, and so she kind
I
of
gotcha.
tells her story throughout. But she wrote, Jolene and I Will Always Love You in the same day. Like, she was a hit machine. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, I know she's written a lot of songs for other people that ended up being big. Yeah.
right. I mean, they talked to some experts, like professors in music, and they're like, if she had been born at a different time, she would be Mozart. Like, that's how good of a songwriter she is. She was just like touched by something, and
Yeah.
she's just on a different level than most people. So basically, it's like Porter was kind of holding her back, and she knew, like, I need to branch out, and she signed a terrible contract when she first got into the industry, and Porter basically owned her. So he sued her for $1 million. And, she didn't have it at that
Yeah.
point, but she was like, all right, I'm doing it. And half the band ended up going with her from the show. So the show ended. Like, it was rough for those two. And, obviously he sued her. She had to pay him $1 million over time. But they ended up, like, mending fences, and Porter went through hard times, and Dolly ended up buying his company from him and just giving it back because she's like, I had the money, so it wasn't no big deal to me. So I felt like it was the right thing to do. So
What a good
even
heart.
after all that, Dolly
Yeah.
ends up buying the company. She's like, I just want to make sure his kids got it someday. So
Oh my goodness.
I was just like, she's a saint, and she was there when he died, despite all that horrible mess they went through. Like, the fact that they were able to come back and she truly forgave him, and I'm amazed by her. Like, every bit of her story just fascinates me. But I also feel like you don't ever really know her because she's
Yeah.
always putting on a show.
No, I feel like there's definitely a wall there.
She's not-
You've heard about her tattoos, right?
Oh yeah, butterfly
Yeah.
tattoos.
Yeah,
Apparently,
she's got tattoos all up and down her arms, but that's the reason she wears long sleeves so that you
It's
never
like-
see them.
Yeah, it's like you feel like you know Dolly, but also there's always
She doesn't really want anybody to get behind that mask. Yeah.
Exactly. And she's so over the top, and she does it on purpose. She's
Yeah.
playing a game with us, and
It's weird because I
my
feel like
favorite game.
I feel like there's that mask, but I also feel like if we actually got behind it, she would be
She's
even
still
sweeter.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like-
like I feel like she's a really sweet, and it's like she just keeps that up because she doesn't. She wants to keep part of herself private, but
Absolutely.
I still feel like she's just a big sweetheart. So
yes. Oh, I don't think there's anything bad behind it.
Yeah.
She's smart though.
Yeah.
And she wants you. It's like she wants you to underestimate her, and
Mm-hmm.
she makes sure that you do, and then Take you for
just
everything
wants
you got.
she wants you to see her as she wants to be seen. She's like, here's
Exactly.
what I'm putting forward,
She's just smart.
and this is what you get.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything malicious about it,
No, I
really.
don't- yeah.
But it's kind of like, you're going to take advantage of me anyway. She's kind of like an anti-feminist, because they ask her if she's a feminist. She's like, I absolutely not, And I think of her as one of the great feminists.
Yeah.
And
Because it's always been about her being able to control her own image and being able to.
Exactly, but she's like, I just don't like extremes. Like, I never want people to feel like they're pitted against anything.
That's why she's never made any comments really politically one
no,
way or
she's
the other.
so good. She come on now. We could all learn from Dolly. But yeah, Dolly Parton's America. Check it out. I think it's like number 4 on the
All right.
podcast chart. So it's
I'll
not
check it
like
out.
I'm like really helping her out.
Has
much.
Bill been listening to it?
Well, I don't think Bill knows how to listen to podcasts.
Okay, so you should.
But I have told him that I will be happy.
You can take his phone and download it for him.
Yes. Well, Mr. X's dad asked me to download our podcast
Oh,
onto his
that's
phone
sweet.
for him.
My father-in-law did
Isn't
the
that
same thing.
cute?
He asked how he listened to it. I said, all right.
I was so flattered. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's nice.
Of course.
Introducing podcasts to a whole new audience.
There you go.
I found the item. It's from Corte Lima. It's papas en la lata.
Yum.
I probably butchered that, but which also that's another story. Anyway, hand
People
cut.
were very disappointed that Victor didn't speak Spanish in Mexico.
That's the story I'm going to get into anyway.
Nutshell.
Hand cut fries with queso blanco, jalapeno, smoked salt, and pico de gallo, and it's all just mixed up into one big goopy, delicious thing. And yeah, it was amazing. So it's worth stopping in just for that. But yes, that was another thing in Mexico. So normally, whenever Mandy and I, if we go to a restaurant and they'll ask for a name, we've gotten so used to just giving them her maiden name, because every time I'd say Puente, they what, and then I'd have to spell it, and it was just kind of a hassle. And so down there at one point we go to say a name, and they're like, huh, and they look, and I'm like, wait, Puente, and they're like, all right, and they just write it down.
You're like, wait, this is my chance.
This is my time to shine. But then also whenever I would give people my name, they start speaking Spanish, or they kind of look at me, and I'd be like, oh no, I'm sorry.
Aw.
A lot of disappointment.
No.
So
They were
we need
judging
to work
you.
on that. I think there was some judgment there. But again, I had a really good time.
Well, I'm glad.
All right. Well, Andrea, we're wrapping up this episode.
Yep. And wrapping up election, I can't wait for it to be over.
Quick reminder, if you listen to this, if you're listening to us on iTunes, rate us, subscribe. We need
I'm afraid
all
to
the help
say
we can get.
review.
review. I don't care. The interaction, we'll take it.
Give us 5 stars, please.
No, give us what you think are the appropriate amount of
I
stars.
disagree. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and they're all like, they just say, give us 5 stars. They don't even give you an option.
So yeah, and also if you're listening on
No,
SoundCloud,
reach for the stars,
have-
Victor.
if you're listening on SoundCloud, you have the podcast app on your iPhone. If you have an iPhone, find us on there, hit subscribe, rate us, and also we do have a dedicated feed to just this podcast now. If you're listening in part of the normal WKYT feed, you can go find that if you want to. I'm currently uploading about 2 a week, so we'll catch up eventually to where we're all uploading at the same time.
Yes.
But
Share it with a friend. That
that's
would be
on
a
there.
big help to us as well.
Yeah, on all the social media stuff. I mean, you found us somehow, so obviously you're online. Unless I've put this on vinyl somehow and put it in a record store, which I don't think is going to happen. But
Probably not.
all right, well, bye everybody.
Bye.